Hey guys, welcome to Break a Bolt. On today's episode, we're gonna start building the engine mounts. So let's get rolling. This is the driver's side. Right now it clears the steering column and it has enough space in there, so that's good. And what I started doing was I started building plates out of quarter-inch quarter-inch metal. So this is quarter-inch metal and the bottom is quarter as well. This is I believe 316. So once I had the plates on, I started building a template using my template. So there you go. So once I got the plates on, I started building a template using cardboard to get the measurements right before I start cutting it. So that's how it looks. I cut both sides with that. And if you're worried about the engine does sit flat after that. So if I use the level on the bottom of the engine is somewhat flat, give or take. Let me start building this driver side mount first, then I kind of have stability when it comes to building the passenger side. The passenger side mount is going to be the most difficult because how they made it. So they're using the one of the mounting location is the transmission and the other one is the engine. So yeah, that's going to be a tricky one to build, but yeah, let's go with this first. So here's the mount. This is the driver's side. The welds are not the best, but they're improving. I mean, there's some, I don't know what you call it, but hey, I can't complain. It does the job for now. So at this point, I'm gonna build another piece around here to here, like a support on top, and maybe another one at the bottom, and maybe another piece in the middle just to give it some rigidity. Probably use 316 for that as well. Yeah, let's get going. So I got my passenger side mount done. It's one of the trickiest one to do because of how the thing's set. So I had to cut a little bit in here because the charge pipe goes through on that side, and then I gotta make it in this angle because one of the down pipes comes from this side. So if the mount sits like this, that's the way the shape. And plus on this space, that's where all the coolant and oil tube goes for the turbo in the back. So yeah, it was a tricky one to build because I had to figure out how I want to get it going, but seems like I got a solid place for it right now. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start making some supports on the side to make it a little bit beefier, and then yeah, we'll test fit it afterwards. So I got the driver's side mount done. It's way easier compared to the passenger one to build, but yeah, it's solid. I got some, just a small cutout on this side to let the steering shaft go in, but that's about it. Other than that, it's pretty straightforward how it looks. And here's the passenger side mount. I guess you can't see it much. Alright. So here's how the passenger mount looks. It's one of the weirdest shape I had to build because I had to make sure there's space for the oil cooler lines or oil drain lines. Then the rear turbo downpipe comes off from this side, so I had to make sure there's space for there. And so yeah, I can show you guys properly when I take it off the engine once I finish test fitting it. But yeah, that's how it looks. So I'm running into a couple of problems. The charge pipe coming from this turbo is actually hitting the frame rail, like right around here. I'm thinking about cutting and creating like an indent in the ear, somewhere around here, give or take. I'm worried about chassis rigidity, but I have to do it, so I'm gonna figure out a way to do it in a way without compromising the strength. So yeah, let me think about it, how I want to do it. And the other problem is the downpipe coming off of the front turbo. It's actually hitting right here on the frame. So my goal is not to not to modify the subframe. So what I'm gonna do is maybe modify the downpipe somewhat and see how it fits, but that's not as important right now. I could somehow fix it because the downpipes are not that hard to manipulate. And the other thing I might do is right here, like I got space between the subframe and the engine, like right on that edge, but I'm not too comfortable with it, so I might just cut this lip off so I have at least an inch of space between. But there's space, but I'm not really sure about it. So yeah, I'll probably trim off this edge just a little bit so it'll have enough space. Other than that, everything is all good. The engine mounts are done. So here's the steering rack. Let me see if I can zoom in. If you see that bolt, there's about I don't know, 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch of space between that bolt and the steering rack. But as it sits, it seems to be okay. Let me see. This is how the mount sits, and right now there's enough clearance at the bottom. But when I take the jack off, it actually compresses the mount a little bit on the side. I think that mount might be bad because I'm still reusing the old mount. But yeah, so when it compresses, let's see. The bolt is actually hitting the steering rack. So to rectify the issue, I ordered some poly engine mounts from FCP Euro. Hopefully they'll come within the next few days so I can throw them on. But if it doesn't work, I'll probably use like a couple of spaces, like 5mm spaces on that engine mount to raise that side a little bit, and that should rectify the problem. But yeah, those are the 3 problems I'm having. I anyway knew I'm gonna have the issue with the sidewall, like right there with the charge pipe, and yeah. Okay, let's start taking the mounts off and start painting them. So here's the engine mounts. As usual, I went for the blue paint. Anyhow, this is the passenger side engine mount. It has a weird shape, as I said before. That's for it to allow the downpipe and the turbo oil drain line and all that stuff. And here's the driver's side engine mount. There's nothing much other than there's a groove on this side to allow for the what do you call it, the steering column. Yeah, that's about it. So we got working engine mounts. As usual, I'll try to upload the specifications. Hopefully it'll help someone out, just in case. So I unplugged everything from the engine bay, and while I was doing it, I was like, maybe I should start looking up if I can fit the E90 heater core. So this is the E90 heater core, and it has the air pump on the right, except on the E46 you don't have enough space. This may be crazy, but I guess I'm gonna cut into the dash and see if it'll fit. If it doesn't work, well, I kind of screwed up on it, but if it does work, it'll be great. So yeah, let's see if it works. Alright, that's it for this episode, guys. We're done with the engine mounts. I'm not actually going to put the engine in. I have to take it back out because I was working on the car to get the charge pipe to fit in, because I had to start cutting the engine bay and do all that stuff to make sure the charge pipe fits without hitting the engine rail. So as usual, if you haven't subscribed, make sure you hit subscribe, like, comment, hit the bell button, all the good stuff, and I'll see you guys next time. Keep breaking bolts.